Hi there, everyone, and welcome to the Daily Gardener, and thank you for listening. I'm your host, Jennifer Ebling. It's December 14th. Today we celebrate the English garden writer who fell in love with one of the world's first science fiction writers, and she turned out to be a woman. And we'll also learn about the Connecticut botanist and conservationist who created a new undergraduate degree program he called Human Ecology. We'll hear a delightful interview with the month of December in today's poem, and we grow that garden library with a book that helps us turn our cupboards into our very own kitchen apothecary through recipes that help and heal us. And then we'll wrap things up with the state flower of Alabama, the camellia. But first, here's a quick reminder to head on over to the website for the show, thedailygardener.org, thedailygardener.org, where you can sign up for the Daily Gardener Friday newsletter. It's a free newsletter that I send out every single Friday in an email. You'll get a personal update from me, along with garden reminders, garden-inspired recipes, gifts, tips, and hacks, a list of all of the books that were featured on the show for the week, and exclusive updates regarding the show. Plus, each week, one lucky subscriber wins a book from the Grow That Garden Library bookshelf. So head on over to the website, and when you get there, you'll see a little graphic on the side that's got roses on it, and it'll say, Join the Daily Gardener Friday newsletter. Just click on that, and then you'll be good to go. In today's curated news, The Guardian shared an exciting article. It was called New Variety of Apple Discovered by Wiltshire Runner. There was a runner named Archie Thomas, and he stumbled across a solitary windfall fruit a few weeks ago, and they think that it could be a cross between a cultivated apple and a European crab apple. Very exciting development. It's a yellow apple. It looks fantastic. In any case, I'll look forward to hearing more about this discovery. And if you'd like to check out this article for yourself, all you need to do is go over to the Facebook group for the show, the Daily Gardener Community, and type in the word apple, and this post will pop up. That way you don't have to take any notes or search for links. So if you'd like to join the community, all you need to do is the next time you're on Facebook, just search for Daily Gardener Community, where you'd search for a friend and request to join. I'd love to meet you in the group. Here's today's brevities. Today is the anniversary of the death of the Scottish botanist, garden designer, and author John Claudius Loudon, who died on this day, December 14th, in 1843. A prolific garden writer and publisher, John coined the term arboretum. And there are two stories that I love to tell about John. One is his love story with his wife, Jane, and the other is a famous miscommunication that he had over some beech trees. Well, John's love story with his wife was made for movies. The two met when John insisted on meeting the fantastic new sci-fi author of a book named The Mummy by Henry Colburn. Well, when John went to meet with Henry, he discovered Henry was a nom de plume for Jane, and the two fell in love and married a year later. Now, the second story that I like to tell about John had to do with his letter to the Duke of Wellington. And what happens next is like a Shakespeare comedy. John had written the Duke to ask if he could inspect the Waterloo beeches. These gorgeous beech trees had been planted as a memorial to the Battle of Waterloo. Well, unfortunately, when the Duke got John's note, he misread the signature at the bottom of the letter. Instead of J.C. Loudon, the Duke mistakenly believed the note was from C.J. London, or the Bishop of London. Compounding this problem, the Duke misread the word beaches as breeches. And so the Duke thought that the Bishop of London wanted to inspect his pants. So the Duke wrote the bishop back saying, "My dear Bishop of London, it will always give me great pleasure to see you. Pray whenever it suits your convenience, whether I'm home or not. My servant will receive orders to show you so many pairs of breeches of mine as you wish. But why you should wish to inspect those that I wore at the Battle of Waterloo is quite beyond my comprehension." Well, from that day forward, the incident became known as the story of the Waterloo breeches, and we wouldn't have it without John Claudius Loudon. John and his wife Jane were considered high society, and their friends included Charles Dickens. As he grew older, John's arms stopped working after an attack of rheumatic fever. As a result, Jane became his arms, and she handled most of his writing. When John's arms got so bad that surgeons needed to amputate his right arm, they found John in his garden, and he told his doctors he wanted to return to the garden immediately after the procedure. 2 weeks before Christmas in 1843, John was dictating his final book called A Self-Instruction to Young Gardeners. Around midnight, he suddenly collapsed into Jane's arms and died. Jane completed the book on her own. And today is the birthday of the American botanist and conservationist Richard Hale Goodwin, who was born on this day, December 14th, in 1910. Reflecting on how he decided to pursue botany in college, Richard wrote, "I loved the outdoors and wild places, and had the thought that by entering that field, I might be able to contribute toward the rehabilitation of devastated country." A Harvard grad, Richard went to work at Connecticut College in 1944 as a professor of botany. The job intrigued Richard because it came with an additional role, serving as the director of the college arboretum. Together with a fellow professor named William Nearing, Richard began a pioneering undergraduate program that brought together science and public policy, and he called it human ecology. Richard and his wife Esther bought a 100-acre farm in East Haddam, Connecticut. Over the years, they continued to add on to the property, and by the time they donated their land to the Nature Conservancy, their gift encompassed 1,200 acres with an impressive ecosystem of diverse trees, plants, and wildlife. In a 1991 interview, Richard spoke about the preserve. He said, "You hear about the enormous complexity of the tropical forest, but even this place in our backyard is highly complex." And then, right as he was talking about this, he spotted a new flower, and he said, "There it is, a ragged fringed lily." In 2002, Richard wrote his memoir, and he called it A Botanist's Window on the 20th Century. In Unearthed Words, today's words are from the American poet and priest John Bannister Tabb, from his adorable little poem called An Interview. "I sat with chill December beside the evening fire. And what do you remember?" I ventured to inquire, "of seasons long forsaken." He answered in amaze, "My age you have mistaken. I've lived but 30 days." It's time to grow that garden library with today's book, Alchemy of Herbs by Rosalie de la Forêt. This book came out in 2017, and the subtitle is Transform Everyday Ingredients into Foods and Remedies That Heal. In this book, Rosalie teaches us how our cupboards can be a source of relief for that next cold, scrape, headache, digestive issue, stressful day, or sleepless night. Imagine purposefully making food and beverages to make yourself feel better. For example, make a cinnamon tea for a sore throat. Eat garlic hummus to boost your natural immunity. And make a simple cayenne salve for body aches and sores. An herbal consultant and educator, Rosalie teaches us how to see our pantries in a whole new light, transforming everyday ingredients into foods and remedies that heal. By turning your cupboard into your own personal kitchen apothecary, Rosalie teaches us about how to make remedies in our own kitchens that are inexpensive and straightforward. While using herbs can often seem complicated or costly, Rosalie teaches us to learn about herbs in an affordable and straightforward way. It's just like cooking dinner. This book is 384 pages of taking off your chef hat and putting on the herbalist mantle, making personalized food and drink to help you feel better and stay healthy. You can get a copy of Alchemy of Herbs by Rosalie de la Forêt and support the show using the Amazon link in today's show notes for around $18. Finally, here's something sweet to revive the little botanic spark in your heart. It was on this day, December 14th in 1819, that Alabama became the 22nd state to join the Union. 40 years later, the camellia became the official state flower of Alabama. And before that, Alabama's state flower was the goldenrod. Camellia is an evergreen plant in the tea family. The flower size of camellias can range from 1 centimeter to dinner plate size. Camellias have made their way into stories and books and on the movie screen. They symbolize love, affection, and admiration. In Harper Lee's 1961 Pulitzer Prize-winning novel To Kill a Mockingbird, which is set in Alabama, Mrs. DuBose's camellia is the snow-on-the-mountain camellia, also known as the white dove's camellia or the Mino-Yuku camellia. Now, camellias are shallow-rooted and they need well-drained acidic soil. The older the camellia, the more water-wise and drought-tolerant the plant. Like peonies, camellias are long-lived plants in terms of age, and they can easily live to be 100 years or older. In mature forests, wild camellias can grow to be more than 50 feet tall. And there are 2 small villages in Tuscany that host the Ancient Camellias Festival. This part of Tuscany offers the perfect habitat for camellias, with cool, shady woodlands and flowing waters. Finally, the camellia was the favorite flower of the French fashion designer and businesswoman Coco Chanel. Coco's favorite camellia was the Alba plena, and although she adored the bloom, she loved that the flower had no scent because it never competed with her trademark perfume, Chanel No. 5. Thanks for listening to The Daily Gardener, and remember, for a happy, healthy life, garden every day. The Daily Gardener is produced in lovely Wyoming, Minnesota with the help of Paige Mance, Brooke Bierbaum, Kiana Rayleigh, Maddie Doyle, Natalie Decker, and Eric Begay. You can find The Daily Gardener on all your favorite social media. You can follow the show on Instagram, and listeners always have a standing invitation to join the free Facebook group for the show. Just search for Daily Gardener Community the next time you're on Facebook and request to join. All the stories and books that are featured on the show can be found over at thedailygardener.org, thedailygardener.org. And while you're there, be sure to sign up for my free Friday newsletter. Last but not least, you can share your own gardener greetings on the show by emailing me at jennifer@thedailygardener.org. I'm your host, Jennifer Ebling, and as always, have a great day in the garden, and we'll see you tomorrow.